I often reflect on how the human condition has evolved in the modern world. In my time, I witnessed the beginnings of industrialization, the rise of new technologies, and the reshaping of human life. Yet, even then, I could sense what was coming, an overwhelming burden upon a human psyche, one that would manifest as a word you know well today: stress. Stress, as you experience it, is not merely the product of external pressures, deadlines, finances, responsibilities, or the speed of modern life. It is something far deeper. Stress emerges when the inner world and the outer demands of life are in conflict. It is the cry of the soul, signaling that what is being asked of you does not align with what lives within you. When you feel stressed, you may think the solution lies only in reducing your workload, adjusting your schedule, or resting more. While these things are important, they are not sufficient. For stress is rarely only about the surface level demands. It is about the way your inner self responds to those demands. And often, it reveals that you are not living in harmony with your deeper nature. Modern culture has created a paradox. On one hand, you are told to strive for success, to wear masks of efficiency, productivity, and perfection. On the other, your inner world longs for meaning, authenticity, and rest. The more these two realities diverge, the heavier the stress becomes. You feel torn between who you are expected to be and who you truly are. I call these masks the persona, the roles we play in society to be accepted, respected, and admired. There is nothing wrong with having a persona. We all need it. But when you identify too strongly with this mask, when you forget the deeper self beneath it, stress begins to dominate your life. It is as though the soul whispers, you are losing yourself. Consider this. When was the last time you sat in silence and listened, truly listened, to what your inner world was saying? Many of you avoid silence because it reveals truths you are not ready to face. But the more you silence your inner voice, the louder stress will become. It will manifest not only in your thoughts, but also in your body. Tension, fatigue, sleeplessness, even illness. So I ask you to view stress not as an enemy, but as a messenger. It is not here merely to make your life difficult. It is here to tell you that something in your life needs to be re-examined. Perhaps it is the way you work. Perhaps it is the way you relate to others. Or perhaps it is the way you have ignored your own needs for too long. Stress, then, is not only a burden, it is also a call to awareness. And if you are willing to listen, it can be the doorway to transformation. When I speak of stress, I cannot ignore the role of the persona, the mask each of us wears to meet the expectations of society. From the earliest days of life, we learn what behaviors bring approval and what actions invite disapproval. Slowly, we construct a mask that allows us to survive, to fit in, and to succeed. But here's the paradox. The more successful you become in playing a role, the more you risk forgetting the self that lies beneath it. Stress often arises when your persona grows too heavy, when the mask you wear no longer reflects your inner truth. Imagine a man who must always appear strong, confident, and in control. Outwardly, he succeeds, but inwardly, he may feel vulnerable, uncertain, even afraid. The stress he experiences is not simply from the responsibilities he carries, but from the constant pressure to hide his true feelings. The mask becomes a prison. Or consider a woman who feels compelled to be the perfect mother, the flawless professional, the ideal partner. Society applauds her persona, but in the quiet moments, she feels exhausted and unseen. Her stress is the soul's rebellion against a life lived only for others, with no space left for herself. You see, the persona is not inherently bad. Without it, social life would collapse into chaos. But when you begin to confuse the mask with your true identity, you create an inner split. One part of you is busy performing, while the other part longs to breathe freely. That tension is stress. This is why so many of you feel tired even when you rest. You may sleep, but your soul does not. It remains restless, struggling against the constraints of the mask. Stress, then, is not only physical fatigue. It is spiritual suffocation. What, then, is the path forward? It is not to destroy the persona, for you will always need roles in this world. Rather, it is to hold your masks lightly, to know that they are tools, not identities. When you walk into work, you may wear the mask of the professional. When you return home, You may wear the mask of the parent or partner, but behind each of these, there must be space for the authentic self, the one who is free from roles. Ask yourself, who am I when no one is watching? If the answer frightens you, if it feels empty or unclear, then your stress is pointing you toward a deeper need, the need to rediscover your true essence. Remember this: stress is not simply the weight of the world pressing upon you. It is also the friction that arises when you live too far from your authentic self. If you wish to manage stress, you must first dare to remove the mask, even if only in moments of solitude, and let your soul breathe again. Many of you believe that stress comes solely from external forces, the demands of work, family, finances, and the constant noise of the world. Yet the truth is far more complex. A significant part of your stress originates not outside of you, but deep within, in the realm of the unconscious. The unconscious is that vast, mysterious part of the psyche where forgotten memories, unresolved conflicts, and unacknowledged desires live. You may think you have buried certain experiences, but they do not disappear. They remain alive, influencing your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors in ways you do not recognize. Stress often emerges when these hidden elements press against the boundaries of your awareness, seeking expression. Imagine carrying a suitcase filled with stones, each one representing a past pain, a fear, or a truth you did not want to face. You may carry it for years without noticing its weight, but eventually, your body and mind begin to feel the burden. Sleepless nights, irritability, anxiety. These are not merely responses to daily life. They are signals from the unconscious, reminding you of what you have refused to confront. Dreams are one of the most powerful ways the unconscious communicates with you. Perhaps you dream of running, but never reaching your destination, or of standing before a storm, unable to move. These are not random images. They are messages from your psyche, showing you where your inner conflicts lie. When ignored, these conflicts manifest as chronic stress, gnawing at the edges of your well-being. Even your relationships often mirror the contents of your unconscious. You may feel inexplicably stressed in the presence of certain people, not because of who they are, but because they awaken unresolved parts of yourself. The irritation or tension you feel may be less about them, and more about the shadow you have not yet integrated. What, then, can be done? The first step is courage, the willingness to look inward, instead of only asking, what in my life is causing me stress? You must also ask, what in myself is responding to life with stress? This subtle shift changes everything. It transforms stress from an external enemy into an inner teacher. Journaling, dream analysis therapy, or even quiet reflection can open doors to the unconscious. Each practice invites you to bring into the light what has been hidden. And as these hidden truths are acknowledged, their power over you diminishes. The stress they once created begins to loosen its grip. Understand this. Stress is often the tension between who you think you are and what your unconscious knows you to be. The unconscious does not rest until you hear its message. By listening, by integrating what lies beneath, you move closer to wholeness. So I urge you, do not run from the shadows of your mind. They are not here to destroy you. They are here to guide you toward the self you have always been meant to become. If stress is the voice of the unconscious calling out, then healing begins not with silencing that voice, but with listening to it. You cannot manage stress by ignoring it, numbing it, or pushing it aside. True healing requires integration, the bringing together the fragmented parts of yourself into a more unified whole. The first path toward integration is awareness. Many people live in a constant state of distraction, afraid to sit quietly with themselves. Yet awareness begins in stillness. When you allow yourself moments of silence, without the noise of technology, obligations, or endless busyness, the truth of your inner world begins to surface. In that stillness, you may feel discomfort, but also clarity. Another path is dream work. Your dreams are not meaningless. They are symbolic stories crafted by your unconscious, showing you what your conscious mind refuses to see. By reflecting on your dreams, by asking what each symbol might mean for your life, you open a dialogue with your deeper self. This is not about quick answers, but about cultivating curiosity toward your inner world. Nature, too, offers healing. The modern world is built upon speed, efficiency, and artificial structures. But the human soul longs for the rhythms of the natural world, the slow growth of a tree, the flow of a river, the vast silence of the sky. Time in nature does not erase your problems, but restores perspective. It reminds you that life is larger than your immediate stressors. Creative expression is another doorway. Painting, writing, music, or even simple forms of play allow the unconscious to speak in ways words cannot capture. When you create, you give shape to inner energies that might otherwise remain trapped inside, causing stress and restlessness. And let us not forget the importance of relationships. Stress often isolates you, convincing you that you must carry your burdens alone. But healing thrives in connection. To share your fears, struggles, and vulnerabilities with trusted others, not weakness. It is a path toward integration. For in being seen, you are reminded that your true self is worthy of love. These practices are not cures in themselves. They are invitations. Invitations to step out of the endless cycle of reaction and into a deeper, more intentional relationship with yourself. When you accept these invitations, you begin to notice something remarkable. Stress no longer feels like an enemy pressing down on you, but like a signal guiding you back to balance. Do not be deceived into thinking that integration means a life without stress. That is not possible nor even desirable. Stress is a natural part of existence. But when you integrate the shadow, when you listen to your unconscious, and when you live closer to your authentic self, stress loses its power to control you. Instead, it becomes a rhythm, one you can move with rather than against. Remember this. Healing is not about escaping life's challenges. It is about facing them with a self that is whole, grounded, and free. As we come to the end of this reflection, I want you to understand something essential. Stress is not a curse placed upon you. It is not simply an unfortunate byproduct of modern life, nor merely the result of too many responsibilities. Stress is a signal, a messenger from the depths of your psyche, calling you to awaken. Each time you feel the weight of stress pressing upon your chest or the restless thoughts that keep you awake at night, pause and ask, what does my soul try to tell me? This question alone shifts you from being a passive victim of stress to an active participant in your own healing. You see, stress is often the very threshold between the life you are living and the life you are meant to live. It highlights the cracks in your persona, the unresolved truths in your unconscious, the distance between your outer world and your inner needs. Rather than resisting it, learn to approach it with curiosity. In doing so, you turn stress into an ally on your journey of individuation, the lifelong process of becoming whole. To live without stress is not possible, but to live enslaved by it is not necessary. The difference lies in how you relate to it. When you see stress only as an enemy, you remain in conflict. But when you see it as a teacher, you begin to grow. Reflect on this. What parts of yourself have you been ignoring, suppressing, or hiding behind masks? What truths have you been afraid to face, even though they knock at the door of your dreams and whisper in moments of silence? These are the roots of your stress, and only by facing them can you truly transform. So I leave you with this invitation. Do not run from stress, but walk toward it with open eyes. Ask what it wants to teach you, what it wants you to reclaim. For in every moment of pressure, there lies a seed of transformation, waiting for you to nurture it. And now, I turn to you, yes, you who are listening. How has stress shaped your life? Have you discovered ways in which it taught you more about who you are? I encourage you to share your reflections in the comments below. Tell me where in the world you are watching from and how stress has challenged or changed you. By sharing, you do not only help yourself, you help others who may be walking the same path. Remember, wholeness does not mean perfection. It means embracing every part of yourself, the light and the shadow, the peace and the stress, and allow